Hi, this video will explain how to adjust the Heusinkveld Engineering Ultimate pedals in various ways. Ultimate for a reason, very stiff brake pedal up to 300 pounds, 100 pounds clutch, so you can really simulate all racing cars pretty much in a realistic amount of force and travel of these pedals. So it really is what we consider the ultimate. The throttle, brake and clutch have all the same adjustments in height, tilt angle and the damping. And first we change the pedal height with the 3mm hex key and also the wrench. So you undo the sunken bolt there and make sure that the little washer and the nut don't fall out. Put them somewhere where you can keep them, take the bolt out, and then you can easily take the pedal pad off. And there are 3 positions. The lowest one for smaller feet, then there's a middle one sort of regular size, and then there is a large one if you've got bigger feet. So if you find the more economic position, you just insert the sunken countersunk bolt again, then the washer, then the nut. Do it up, no need to do this up very tightly, just it won't go anywhere, so a few turns and then you feel it getting a bit tight and that's fine. Second adjustment for throttle, brake and clutch is the tilt angle. Then you undo the 4 bolts on the corners that hold the brackets on, just a turn or so, and that frees it up. So as you can see, we can tilt the entire pedal forward or backwards, so you can adjust the spacing between the throttle and brake and the ergonomic operating angle. And then you tighten the bolts first slightly, make sure it's alright, and then you tighten them up properly. The final adjustment you can make on all the 3 pedals is in the damping, which you access by undoing those 2 bolts a turn, and then if it doesn't work, it's probably held together, and then if you undo the lower one a turn as well, then it frees up. Lowest position least damping, and the highest position is the most damping. Difference is huge, it's just a small slot, but it really makes a big difference if you put it in the lowest or in the highest position. And when you tighten it up, don't forget to tighten all the things up. The throttle also has a spring stiffness adjustment, for which you undo those 2 bolts and then you can turn the mounting point. Make sure that the push rod is straight, so as you can see I have to adjust the little lever at the end there. Find your preferred position and then you can tighten it up. I haven't quite turned the little lever thing at the end upward enough because I wasn't looking at it from the right position. The travel as well is undone by those 2 bolts there, as you can see. And in the forward position you got the least travel, which I will demonstrate now. It's quite a short throttle there. And if you prefer more throttle travel, then you can undo them again, slide it to the rear of the slot, tighten it up again, and you will see that there is a lot more travel now. So it's infinitely adjustable between those extremes. The brake, you adjust them with a sort of stack of rubbers and spacers and a spring. And you do that. Oh yeah, the mounting brackets on the rear isn't a slot anymore, but holes, because the forces are so great. Damping is adjustable, and you can also adjust the height of the pedals just like the other ones. You sort of clamp with your fingers the washer, and then you can sort of pull it towards you and then fairly simply move it upward. It does take a little bit of force to get that spring compressed, but it's fairly doable. And then you can take parts off, such as these washers, and I'll take a rubber spring out. And you cannot use less than those washers there, so I think I count 5. You may not use less than that, otherwise the spring life will be reduced. And out of nowhere came another stack of washers, black washers. So these replace the white rubber spring, and the less rubber you have in there, the stiffer the pedal will feel. And then it's easily, by compressing it again with your fingers, slides back into place. You have to align the spring if it's not in the center, then you're good to go. So oh yes, you can use up to 3 rubbers, which I was trying to show you there. So compress the spring with your fingers and then it pulls upwards. And then replace the parts that you want, more rubbers, less rubbers, more spacers. And always have a metal washer at the end of each rubber. Back go the spacers, then the final part, and it clicks into place again. And align the spring. clutch can go really heavy, really light, or somewhere in between, as you can see now. Right, top of that you can adjust the travel, the overall resistance as you saw, and also the curve, the shape of the feel. First the travel, just like the throttle basically. In the forward position you got the least travel, in the rearward position you got the most travel. I took the spring out because it's so heavy to press that I couldn't show you the travel. So this is the shortest travel, and now in the rear position you get the most travel. A pretty long clutch, just like you often see. Adjusting the overall force, you do it by adjusting those two slots, and they have to be symmetrical. So if you have one moved all the way up, then the other has to move all the way up as well. So now I've got them both moved down, which is good, and that reduces the overall force by quite a lot. So both are down, symmetrical. And if you want more resistance, you move them up. And as I do now, I sort of pull that up a little bit and do it a bit more. Now it pulls up. So I'm sort of looking for the middle here to get the average, such as there. But I also have to put the other slot in the middle, otherwise it's all not working as it's designed. So this one, undo that. Oh, that's wrong. Yes. Look at the finger, it's got to be in the middle, just like the other slot. That's important to keep the right engineering, the right behavior of the pedals. And now they're both in the middle, and you're good to go at medium strength. Right, this takes a bit more time. One of the 7 holes you have there, adjusting the curve of the feel. So with the hex, 3mm hex and the wrench, you can undo those sunken bolts there. There's a nut, a washer, and at some point things will fall out. And there the bolt is undone. Now the other side as well. My hands obscure the view, but you get the idea. Undo that bolt and don't lose any of the washers. And then the lever thingy part comes out. Place that somewhere. There are 7 holes. This lowest hole you get the most firm resistance, and in the upper hole you get the least. But in the upper hole you cannot use the maximum travel. You will notice that it will sort of stay down because of the design of the construction. So the upper holes only use with a small amount of travel. Now you just undo the one on the back there a few turns, so it's a bit wobbly. Then you reinsert the bolt and one washer. You can sort of stick that in, because we did it a bit loose, we can sort of wiggle it in. And then you take the other bolt, you take the washer and the nut and you do it finger tight. And then you tighten that backwards arm again, so it doesn't in second case, so it doesn't move anymore, so that's secure. And then you undo the front one, as here, so it's loose and wobbly. It's the opposite of what we did on the other side. And then you will reinsert first the bolt, then a washer, always a washer in between these two parts. And then you fiddle with the side arm here until you find the same hole. Stick it through. Do these up finger tight. And then add the washer and the nut. So we're almost good to go. Do them up on the side, and then with the 3mm and the wrench do these up. This does have to be able to rotate freely, so don't do them up tight. That little thing at the end has to sort of wiggle freely. Don't want them to be too sloppy, but just so that it almost turns freely. So done that up. Do a bit of a test. Yeah, it almost falls down from gravity. That's fine. So that's good. And reinserting the spring, you have it pointed down like that, and then you can just insert that, slide it in. And if you put the rear brackets in the lowest, then you can cheat a bit. and you can see I don't have to preload that spring if I put it on top, and then I press it down, and then there's a bit of preload, but it's easier to do this up from the highest position. So doing everything up, that's good to go. And now taking it out, you have to undo these. Now sometimes it may not come out, and then you have to undo a couple of more bolts, a hole, a turn or two, such as, see if it doesn't go, you can undo that one, because sometimes it clamps it together, and then it should freely come out. Turn it upwards there, and then pull it out. Don't lose any of the plastic washers. Cleaning is required at some stage. If you hold them, they get really dirty with fingerprints. So with a soft cloth, some oil, and then you rub it and all the prints come right off. Thanks for watching. You can catch us on social media and also at hengineering.net. Hope you enjoyed this and hope you enjoy these pedals. We think they're quite amazing. Thank you. Bye bye.